Hello, nice to meet you. My name is Norhan. How are you doing today?
Hi, my name is Peter. I'm good. And you?
I'm good, thanks for asking. Thank you for coming in today to Norhan Counseling. Before we start, I'm going to go over some limits to confidentiality with you. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's okay.
Great. So everything we discuss here today is confidential, and I can only disclose information with your consent unless it's one of the following situations, then I'm obligated to disclose information without consent. So the situations where I would need to disclose information are if I believe there are reasonable grounds that disclosing information is necessary to reduce or eliminate significant imminent risk or serious bodily harm to yourself or anyone else. If I have reasonable grounds to suspect that a child is in need of protection due to neglect, physical harm, or sexual abuse by a person having charge of the child, where it's necessary for particular legal proceedings, to facilitate an investigation or inspection if authorized by a warrant or provincial or federal law, for the purpose of contacting a friend, relative, or substitute decision maker if you're injured, ill, or injured and unable to give consent, and lastly, to a college for the purpose of administration or enforcement of the Regulated Health Professions Act of 1991, which that means is if a complaint has been made against me or my practice needs to be assessed, or if you're a regulated health professional and I have reasonable grounds to believe that you have abused a patient. Do you agree to this?
Yes, this is okay with me.
So tell me about what brings you in today.
Hello, my name is Peter. I am 20 years old, struggling with mental health and addiction for the past 4 years. I was kicked out at 16 because of my mental health and addiction, and I've been couch surfing or living in the shelter since. I want to work on my mental health and addiction to be able to go back home and mend the relationship between me and my parents.
Nice to meet you, Peter. To clarify, you've been suffering from mental health and addiction issues for the past 4 years, and you've had difficulties in your living situation since the age of 16 and have been either couch surfing or living at the shelter, and you want to work on yourself to be able to go back home and mend the relationship between your parents?
Yes, that's right.
That must be very difficult for you. Could you tell me more about the events that led to you getting kicked out?
Well, I was really stressed over school and work, and I started taking my stress out on my parents and siblings, Jeff and Joan. I would yell and swear at them, throw things, leave unexpectedly when something went wrong, blame them for things that went wrong in my life, things like that. All the stress I was going through led me to drinking. I started with drinking a bottle every week, to 2 bottles a week, and eventually to a bottle a day. And we're talking heavy liquor, not the light stuff. Eventually, my parents had enough of my behavior and kicked me out. I haven't talked to them since. There's a lot of water under the bridge. I've talked to Joan and Jeff since, though.
It sounds like you felt very overwhelmed with school and work, and you took out your stress on your family through yelling, blaming, and throwing things, and on yourself by drinking excessive amounts of alcohol, and your parents didn't quite agree with this, and it led to you getting kicked out.
Yes, I was. That's right. And I still am.
It takes a lot of courage for you to talk about this. I'm glad you're able to do so. What has made you decide that you want to take action on improving your mental health and recovering from your alcohol addiction?
I've been so alone without my parents' support, and I have felt lost in life. Drinking has also made me feel so sick. Sometimes I wake up missing work, or I wake up in places I don't remember going to, and I'm hungover a lot, and I'm getting more headaches when I drink. My stress from school and work led me to drinking a lot, and I don't like that. I'm also now realizing how my stress affects everyone around me negatively, and I don't want to hurt any more people around me.
You're really committed to changing your drinking habits and the way you cope with your stress. It's important to be on time for work and take care of your mental and physical health. It's also important for you to take it easy with school, as it's contributing to a lot of your stress and taking a big toll on your mental health. On a scale of 1 to 10, how ready are you to make this change, and why do you choose the number you do?
I would say an 8. I've already taken some steps to address the stress in my life. I do still have some things I need to work on. I chose 8 because I do take some action for a while, then I fall back and don't take action on my stress and it takes over me.
What steps have you already taken to address the stress in your life?
I started journaling things that stress me out. So far on my list, I have school assignments and exams, being late for work, sleeping late, not having enough time to organize my day, procrastinating on projects, constant changes at work, and high demands at work. Since I identified what stresses me out, I started practicing relaxation techniques to do whenever I'm stressed. I tried to start on my assignments ahead of time. I got a calendar to set goals for the day and spread out my tasks that I need to do for the day. I've avoided drinking caffeine before bed, and I've been applying for other jobs that aren't as demanding. I've also talked to my supervisor about changing my position and taking more time off, and my supervisor said he would look into it. I still drink when stressed, which I need to work on, and I also need to work on how to cope with my stress in the moment when I'm with others because I still take my stress out on others.
That's great to hear. You've made really good choices to address the stress in your life. I really like the idea of journaling things that stress you out. That definitely makes it easier to track progress and track triggers. Great job for that. I see that you've already taken some action to address school and work triggers, which is good, and now you're looking for help with decreasing your drinking and responding to others when stressed. Have you thought about how you would go about decreasing your alcohol drinking and responding to others appropriately?
Somewhat. I thought about making a plan before I start drinking to set a limit for how many drinks I'm going to drink. Another idea I thought about doing is setting a weekly budget for how much I'm going to spend on alcohol. I haven't decided on an amount yet, though. I was also thinking about changing my choice of drinks from vodka to beer. I haven't thought about how I would respond to others when stressed.
It sounds like you have a good idea of how you want to start decreasing your alcohol consumption by setting a limit on drinks, a budget for how much you're going to spend on alcohol, and changing your choice of drink to a lower strength drink. Another idea you can try is drinking only with dinner. For ways to change the way you take your stress out on people, you can try getting fresh air when stressed, blocking out the negatives, setting boundaries, expressing your concerns, taking a step back, sticking with I statements, using humor to relieve tension, expressing your concerns when you're calm, thinking before you speak, and talking to someone you trust.
Yeah, that's true. Those are good ideas. I'll try those and see if they help.
That's great to hear. How will you be tracking your progress? And do you have a clear end date of when you want to reach your goals?
I will track my progress in my notebook and journal everything. I will write down my triggers and cravings. If they have been getting better, a scale of 1 to 10 each day on my mental health. At the end of each day, how much I spent on alcohol and how much I drank per day, coping strategies I have learned and when I have used them, to address my stress as well as the actions I take every day to avoid getting extremely stressed at school and work. I can also track when I do my assignments and when I start them, as well as my sleeping habits and my time management and work issues. I want to reach my goals in 2 months. I think I can do it.
To summarize, you'll track your progress by journaling and you'll include how you feel at the end of each day, amounts you spent on alcohol and amounts you drank, your sleeping habits, how you managed your time, and how you split up your school work to meet deadlines.
Yes, that's right.
I definitely think you'll be able to do it. 2 months is a good time frame. Do you see yourself facing any challenges during this time and keeping track on meeting your goals?
Yeah, I think a big challenge for me will be to avoid peer pressure. My friends are also dealing with stress and drinks to relieve their stress. That's where my addiction started, so I will need to keep a distance from my friends for me to stay on track to meet my goal of lowering my alcohol consumption. My friends also peer pressure me to go out whenever I have assignments due. Whenever I go out with them, I come home late and have to spend all-nighters doing my assignments to meet the deadlines, and this stresses me out. I find it difficult to say no to them too. Another challenge I'll have is budgeting my money to spend less on alcohol. That's hard for me because I like to spend money and I don't like having my money in savings. So if my money is lying around, I will be tempted to spend it on alcohol. Another challenge I will have when trying to lower my drinking is dealing with the side effects. I'm afraid that I will go through withdrawal symptoms and not be able to deal with them.
If I'm hearing you correctly, it sounds like you feel pressured by your friends to drink to relieve your stress whenever you're with them. And you find it difficult to say no to them when they want you to go out, and this contributes to your stress of meeting school deadlines. You're also finding it difficult to budget your money for alcohol because you like spending money you have instead of saving, and you're afraid that you'll not be able to deal with the withdrawal symptoms from alcohol, so you'll get back to it.
Exactly, you got it.
That's a tough situation, but I believe that you're motivated and determined to work on your mental health and addiction to be able to mend the relationship between you and your parents and be able to move back home. I believe that this change is important to you and you'll be able to reach your goal. It may take ups and downs along the process, but that's normal, and I believe in the end you'll be where you want to be. Things that you could try to help build your confidence in saying no is understanding that you're saying no to the request, not the person, establishing a preemptive no, be appreciative, explain why, and identify what's important to you and acknowledge what's not. Have you thought about how you will respond to the other challenges you mentioned?
For budgeting, I can try asking my employer to take away more deductions from my pension plan or vacation pay to set aside so I'm not able to access the money easily for drinks. For my withdrawal symptoms, I can try going to Alcoholics Anonymous meetings, talking about it with my close friends or siblings, and trying to focus on eating healthy and resting. I know the withdrawal symptoms don't last long. I just have to get through them at the very beginning and I should be fine.
Yeah, it sounds like you have a good idea of how you want to go about this. I like that you're ready with solutions to your challenges. To me, it sounds like you're prepared to start making the change.
Yeah, I've been wanting this for a while and have tried before. So now all I have to do is stay on track and really tackle my challenges properly.
Once you've reached your goals of improving your mental health and addiction, how do you plan to mend the relationship with your parents?
I will reach out to my mom to see how she is doing. She is easier to talk to than my dad. So first, I'll talk to her, then she can help me mend my relationship with him. I plan to give her a call once I have been stable for at least a month after I've reached my goal. I would want to catch up with her first, then move into apologizing for how I behaved before, then bring up the possibility of me being able to slowly mend the relationship one step at a time with her and my dad. Then, when we are on good terms, I will bring up how I feel about moving back in.
How prepared are you on a scale of 1 to 10 to initiate that conversation with your mom, and why?
I would say a 5. I'm not sure how it will go. It can either go well or really bad and send me back to stage 1 of the process. I feel like I will freeze up when talking to her and I won't know what to say. I haven't talked to her in so long, so she may have changed as well. Me contacting her will also take her off guard because it's been so long since I've contacted her. So I think she might also have a lot of thoughts going on as to why I'm contacting her. I have had arguments with her in the past, but never like this one.
You feel scared of the outcome of reaching out to your mom and starting the conversations because you think that she may have changed as a person and that she'll be shocked to hear from you since it's been so long. What next steps do you plan to take to better prepare yourself for the conversation?
I will keep in contact with my siblings and ask them about my mom and their ideas on how to start the conversation with her. Other than that, I don't know.
That's a good start. How often do you talk to your siblings?
Maybe once a week. I think that once I start following my plan to get back on track and reach my goals, I will talk to them more often. Definitely when I am stable after reaching my goals, I will be contacting them on the regular way more than I am now.
Having a social support is really important in maintaining good mental health. So it's very important for you to stay in contact with your siblings. You mentioned earlier that talking to your mother could go really well or really bad and send you back to step one. Could you tell me more about that?
Yeah, the main reasoning behind me wanting to change is so I can mend the relationship with my parents and move back home. So if my parents aren't willing to mend our relationship to at least be on speaking terms, then it will break me because I'm trying so hard to fix the relationship from my end. I will lose motivation to stay stable and keep working on myself. I see what I did wrong, and I want to show them that I am not who I was and that I really am sorry for the way I behaved before. Don't get me wrong though, I do want to be better myself because my addiction and mental health are getting in the way of my life and leading me to bad choices and bad physical health. But my main priority is to mend my relationship with my parents. I will lose my motivation if my parents aren't accepting of me after the change and don't give me a chance to prove to them that I've changed.
What I'm hearing is that your main priority for taking on this change is to be able to mend the relationship with your parents and move back home. If this doesn't work out in your favor, you'll lose motivation to continue to better yourself. You're genuinely sorry and want to show your parents that you have changed. Have you thought of how you can prepare for a bad outcome and how can you cope with a bad outcome?
Other than drinking, I turn to music a lot for coping. I like to play guitar and write songs. I will try very hard not to turn to drinking, since at that time I will be stable, so I can turn to music. I can write my emotions in my song lyrics to cope. For preparing for the bad outcome, I guess I can remind myself that in time it will get better, and I can't rush the healing process between me and my parents.
That's a good outlook you have on the situation, and you're absolutely correct. Patience is key. I really like your view on using music and playing guitar to cope. I also like to cope with music when I face any difficulties in my life. It really works wonders to relieve stress. Do you have a specific genre that helps you most in your times of need?
I really like rap. It helps the most. Sometimes alternative rock too.
Definitely keep the music up. So far, during this session, we have gone over ways you will achieve your goals for mending your relationship with your parents, to be able to move back home by addressing your stress and addiction. You'll be trying different coping strategies and logging everything in your notebook. And we agreed on a 2-month time frame for you to change and how to address challenges that you may face on the path to change. Are you able to commit to this starting today? And we can follow up at our next session next week?
Yes, that's good with me. And I have been noting everything down, so I am good to go.
That's perfect. All right, I guess I'll see you next week then.
See you.